Have you been wondering where you should be selling your Vechain VET tokens recently? Well, if so, you're in luck because today I'm going to be taking a look at the Vechain price action with that in mind. I'm going to be sharing how I would approach dollar cost averaging out of the market for the VET token. As I get into today's video, if you do find it useful and informative, smash that like button, guys. Really helps the channel out massively. If you're new, subscribe, and let's jump right down into it. Okay, guys, so here we have Vechain paired up with USDT. We're on the 1 day Binance chart here, and we're going to be using a couple of tools to help us kind of guide where we think the price action could be going here for Vechain in the kind of 2025 bullish market. The first thing we're going to use is going to be a Fibonacci retracement tool. You've probably seen me use this a dozen times over. If you're new to the channel, this is a fantastic tool. It allows you to kind of track how the buyers and sellers, the traders, are going to basically perceive the price action, undervalued, overvalued, where they're going to lock in profits. It's going to help them kind of guide them make their decisions, right? So we're going to use this, and we're also going to use Elliott Wave. Elliott Wave is a fantastic tool for being predictive on the market. It doesn't use an indicator. It does rely on understanding the structures, which is why I put together a whole course on this. You can check that out over at 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀com. It's usually linked in the description down below. So it is a complicated subject, but it's well worth doing the course to understand it. So we're going to use those two tools to try to predict out where we think the price is going, and then how we are going to basically dollar cost average out of the market for Vechain. Okay, so here we have a little bit of history. It's worth noting this history because the history is going to help us understand where the future is potentially going. So here we have a really strong move to the upside for Vechain. Now, a lot of people back in the early days, myself included, because I wasn't really paying close enough attention and applying Elliott Wave correctly. But here I was expecting this to continue running up, and that was not the case. We basically have a zigzag pattern. Okay, a zigzag pattern is a very good impulsive run, but it isn't a long-term trend. Okay, so we have a three-wave move to the upside here. And it's very interesting this because we are seeing very similar structures right now as well for Cardano, but this isn't necessarily a bad thing because it does mean that we're going to see some very interesting things in 2025. Now, with all that being in mind, there's a couple of different scenarios that can play out here for Vechain. The obvious one is that you end up with a double zigzag pattern. A double zigzag pattern, like the ABC here, would actually be a WXY pattern. Now, this particular structure, if I measure it using the Fibonacci tool here, we measure the high and we measure the low. Okay, and we go ahead and we pick this up and we move it over. We pick it up and we drop it down on the low over here, which was the 10th of June 2023, which was the low. And that low was coming in at 1.318. So I'm going to go ahead and put the Fibonacci chart here on 1.318. And I'm going to have to lower this down quite a bit. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom in quite aggressively here. As you can kind of see, I'm just missing that wick right there. I'm going to drop it right on there. 1.318. That is the low. I'm just going to go ahead and verify that that is indeed the low. 1.318 is the low. Perfect. I've got a massive opportunity to share with you today. Something so exclusive you're going to want to act fast. We're talking about an upcoming private sale for Own, the world's first government-backed layer 2 blockchain designed specifically for real-world assets. Picture this, a chain powered by Facet, a fully licensed crypto exchange with a regulatory reach covering over 2 billion people across Europe, the GCC, Asia, and Africa. That's right, this isn't just any project. It's backed by a serious ecosystem of partners, including MasterCard, and is already integrated into multiple asset classes, stocks, bonds, commodities, you name it. So why should you pay attention? Well, Own is bridging the gap between traditional finance and Web3 by bringing top-tier assets on-chain, making them available to everyone, everywhere. Their pipeline includes gold tokenization through ORO, and more deals are on the way. Real estate, commodities, and corporate bonds. These are poised to flow into the Own network. But here's the kicker. The private sale, it's happening right now in our own Discord server. If you want to get in on the TGE, that's the token generation event, or at least before the token generation event, which is going to be January the 31st at a price of just $12, 12 cents, well, this is your shot. The public sale will be at 60 cents, and so you're going to be getting a very hefty discount. Now, the tokenomics are built to encourage long-term holding. 10% will be unlocked at the TGE, and then there will be a 9-month cliff, followed by 24-month linear vesting after that. Plus, well, it's just not really all about the price. Own tokens power the own chain and can be staked for governance. Now, adding layers of discount for trading, premium services on the Facet platform, and even the upcoming own card with MasterCard, letting you own and earn own tokens for, well, everyday spending. You want to know a little bit more? Well, join us in our Discord server today. We're hosting an exclusive AMA so that you can ask your burning questions and dive deeper into OWN's vision. The launch is set for Q1 2025, and we're building momentum right now with strategic announcements and partnerships. So don't miss your chance to get in on the ground of a project that's reshaping global finance. Check the links in the description to join the private sale, hop into the Discord, and secure your allocation of own tokens before the world catches on. Trust me, you'll want to be a part of this. Let's own the future of finance together. Okay, so here we have the Fibonacci levels, right? Now, based on a WXY pattern like this, there would be the idea that it's going to be a huge major bull run for Vechain, and it's going to go somewhere between kind of $2.34 and $7.95. Massive headlines, right? Hopefully I didn't do that on the thumbnail, but clickbait you guys. I know you'd love that with the comment section being lit up and everything. But jokes aside, we can see here that there's a low probability of that playing out. Okay, as much as we would love to see those kind of numbers, it's not really probable. Would love to be wrong though, right? I would love to see it. Hold a decent position in Vechain, so the higher it goes, the better. But that's not really how I perceive things going. I'm just going to move the Fibonacci chart here to the left-hand side, just so that we can use this later, but it's not going to be a major key driver for us. Now, I do want to draw in another yellow box. This yellow box area is going to be between the 0.618 and the 0.786. Now, this is a more palatable area where I do think we have a high probability of actually achieving these numbers. This is between the 32.398 and 77.35. These are higher probable areas because, again, these are areas of resistance. They do challenge the previous all-time high, so we do push up a little bit further. But this is the area where we are likely to find some interesting kind of areas of resistance. Okay, so with the most recent move going on here as well, we need to also consider the most recent market sentiment. We can't just look at history here and say, oh, look, history is repeating itself, and completely ignore everything that's going on at the moment. Now, we do have a zigzag pattern formation. Okay, so as you can kind of see here, and I'll pull this in just a little bit, our zigzag pattern would fall between 1 and 1.236, and that's exactly where this is currently landing. And so our problem here is that we need to achieve 19.103 in order for us to be an impulsive trigger point. Okay, so what I mean by that is for us to see explosive growth, we need a 1, 2, 3 can only happen here at 19.1, retracement for 4, and then a final push up higher. Okay, and so that can go up higher than 19, but it can't be lower than 19. Okay, as old Bruce would say, you can be a penny over, but not under, or whatever he says. Anyway, as you can see, that's how you can potentially get up to the 0.618 to the 786. Okay, now with that being said, if I hit the right button, that is. This currently sits as a zigzag pattern. Not bad, but not good. Okay, and the reason for that is it basically means that this is a high area for reversal in the market, and that we are potentially going to be looking for a retracement from here. Now, if we do see a retracement, like I say, it's not necessarily bad, because we could look at this as either a double or a triple zigzag pattern. Okay, so focusing on that larger zigzag there, you could have a W up, an X down, and a Y wave up. Okay, that's one way to kind of get that ball rolling. Or alternatively, there's something called a triple zigzag. You can't have more than this though. Okay, so a triple is the absolute maximum. You'd have your wave W, you come down for an X, you have a fantastic Y wave going up higher than 1.236. You'd have a move coming down into an X wave, and then a final Z wave up higher. Okay, so these are the options that I'm seeing for Vechain, right? At the moment, we haven't reached those impulsive trigger points, meaning that we are not going to be looking for a 5-wave move to the upside. But we could potentially be in the kind of the ground of a double zigzag or a triple zigzag. So what does that mean? Well, in terms of dollar cost averaging out, what are we going to be looking at? Well, This is where our key Fibonacci levels would come in again. So if we are to see rejection at this current point, where we're going to see it? Well, we're probably going to see it right here on the 9.5 cent area, and that's going to be an interesting point of reference. We have a little bit higher here around this future price of around 19 or 17 to 19 cents. And that's going to be a very interesting zone as well. So I'll mark that one up right there as well. And then we have those higher targets, which I do think we'll eventually potentially get to. Let me go ahead and clear this out. So let me talk about this from a dollar cost averaging out perspective. So we dollar cost averaged into the market, buying up all those lows that we had during 2022. And I guess that's early, mid 2023, in fact. Great moves to the downside, great opportunities to dollar cost average, build fantastic positions. Where do we dollar cost average at? Well, the first opportunity was right there at the 4.4, right? We saw the correction from that particular range. It's not a coincidence, right? This is an area where traders were reacting. Okay, so we saw that playing out at 4.478, and it was a great accumulation. We then moved up. So this would have been the first place to dollar cost average out of the positions that we were buying down here. Okay, this would have meant that you probably would have locked in at around 10% of your profit at that point. During this retracement, you could have purchased that back and then sold it again as price rallied up most recently. Called a double dip, right? We love doing that. So that's called the first thing we would have looked at. The next area is what's approaching next, 9.5. At this point here, we will probably be thinking, okay, let's lock in, another 10% at this level. Maybe, you're looking for more loftier targets, but we want to lock profits in. We'll go in for 10% here. The next level would be 17.5. At that point, I would probably be looking to lock in 30% of the profit as I would personally see it. Okay, so that's a total of 50% gone at this stage. And then, of course, we have these targets right up here. And again, I would be looking at 32 cents, locking in that 30% level. And then I'll be looking at locking in another 10% if it gets to 50 cents. And then let the 10% left ride a little bit higher. And that there gets you your 100% dollar cost average out. Now, of course, right, this strategy isn't for everyone. This is just how I would approach the market when it comes to trying to exit my positions on Vechain. Ultimately, the aim of the game is to not be left holding your bags during the next bearish market, right? Because it is going to come. It won't be moving up forever. So locking in profits on the way is perfectly healthy. Now, the other thing to bear in mind here is that emotions are going to be absolutely flying. And having a strategy up front is going to help you manage those emotions. Now, I know there's going to be people out there that will look back at this and say, those were some really bad selling targets, right? We didn't achieve those. We never got anywhere near them. Maybe the price didn't rally. Or alternatively, the price absolutely mooned to $2 and everyone's laughing at me for selling too early. You have to bear in mind that the aim of the game is to have a strategy, have a number of X's in mind, and don't worry if it goes up higher, right? Ultimately, the aim of the game is to have a return on your investment and to trade another day, right? And that is something that I think a lot of retail investors really need to start to understand, because if they are holding hope that, the price is going to go to $3, $4, $5, $10, sure, maybe at some point in the future it will. But you're losing out on all of those returns on your investment and those opportunities to buy back in as prices retrace in bearish times. So the dollar cost average out in the same way that we dollar cost average in is, in my opinion, one of the safer options. You can, of course, let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below. If you found this kind of video helpful and informative, smash the like button, guys. It really does help the channel out massively. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, and don't forget to check that video out right there. It's one you don't want to miss.